When you have a good lens in your hands, you got a good lens. This 21mm 1.4 from Thypoch is a fantastic lens and may be one of the best 21mm lenses in the marketplace, regardless of price. Let's talk about this. All right, full disclosure on this, Thypoch sent me the lens for review. They have no say in the content. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. As a matter of fact, I'm not even a wide angle photographer. I'm not a big fan of 24 to 21 to 18 and beyond that. It's just not my thing. But when I was at Broadcast Asia a couple months ago, they had the lineup of Thypoch lenses there from DZO Films and obviously their cinema lenses, the simera-c line. And I saw this lens on display, so I decided to mount it on my camera and try it. And I was blown away by the sharpness, the bokeh, the separation, and just how beautiful this lens renders. And I said, okay, fine. I reached out to Thypoch. I said, can I review this? And they said, yes. I don't have a lot of samples here. This is kind of a first impressions because I only had it for a few days. But I will tell you, I'm not a 21mm fan, but I may start using this lens, but I'll use it shooting 65 by 24, 16 by 9, or 17 by 9 because that's where this lens shines. Before we get into image quality, let's talk about the build on this. Okay, this is a very robust lens. I mean, it's built well, a little bit on the heavier side, but it's not as big as the 75, but it's closer to the 75 than the 50, the 35, and the 28 respectively. Now, one of the things about the Thypoch lenses, if you never used them before, they have a very interesting depth of scale look. And it's derived from the Alpha lenses of yesteryear. So you have these dots that sort of come alive as you stop down on it. It's a really cool way to sort of see your depth of field scale. Again, it's more aesthetics than anything else, but it's something interesting and it's something different in the marketplace. The aperture ring on this, you can click it or declick it. Everything has really good tolerances to it. The focusing ring, fantastic. This is a very nicely built lens, especially for the price point. But for me, just from an aesthetics point of view, this hood right here is cool. I love this. You mount it on the camera system, it just looks awesome. I know it's a small things like this, but sometimes it's the aesthetics of how a lens looks, how it mounts to the camera makes it really enticing to use. But man, this lens is fantastic. Again, you can declick the aperture if you want to do that. Click it. It's like the simera-c line lens, but this is more of a hybrid lens. So you get the best of both worlds. So I think if you're a photographer that also wants to do video, this is something to look at. And you get close focusing at 0.23 meters. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the closest focusing M-mount lens we've seen on the marketplace thus far. And of course, you have a close focusing adapter, you can go even closer on it. But the 14-rounded aperture blades produce this beautiful bokeh. I'm getting ahead of myself when we're talking about image quality, but it's gorgeous. And if you never tried Thypoch lenses, especially the 75mm lens, that's got a gorgeous bokeh. This just makes your subject pop, man. I don't know what they're doing in their optical department at Thypoch, but they have really done a fantastic job with this, especially at wide angle at 1.4. Your subject just comes alive off the frame. So with that, let's get into image quality for a second. Now, I was using it on the S1R2 because of the image stabilization that you have in this. You can do 1/5. I mean, the stabilization on this camera is so freaking good. I was capturing just water fountains and I was like 1/5 on the shutter speed. And it's tack sharp. Unbelievable. All right, so let's talk about image quality. The first thing you're gonna notice is that this lens does vignette quite heavily on the edges. And that's something that we see in a lot of 21mm lenses out there in the marketplace, except for the Leica SL 21mm lens. Now, I haven't tried that lens. A friend of mine, Casey Yang, has tried it, and he was helping me take some photos of myself with this. And he said that's the lens that does not vignette at all. And granted, Leica does a phenomenal job with those SL lenses, so I take his word for it. But the 21 M-mount lens, the Voigtlander lenses, most other ones do. So it's a very easy fix in Lightroom with this. You just go to your lens profile, you select Voigtlander 21mm f1.4, and then the vignetting goes away. So just keep that in mind. But sometimes you want the vignetting to sort of isolate your subject a bit in the frame, but to each their own. It is quite heavy. That's one thing to take notice. The other thing is how sharp it is at 1.4 and how well corrected it is at 1.4. This lens is gorgeous that way. Your subject just pops off the frame. And again, I mean, I'm used to using wide angle lenses, let's say f2, 2.8, 3.5. And you know, at 4, you lose a little bit of that depth of field. At 1.4, man, woo, it is gorgeous. And it's well corrected. Yeah, a little bit of green and purple fringing, just that verso slight, but it's beautiful. That 14 rounded aperture blade, how beautiful and creamy the bokeh is, but it's still got character. Oh, what a lens, man, what a lens. One of the things that stood out to me is that if you actually play around with your crop factors a bit, this lens is very fun to use. 65 by 24, 16 by 9, 17 by 9. It's a cinema lens. 21 millimeters is like a cinema aspect ratio. You capture the environment and you have your subject in focus and it pops off the background. But when you put in that crop factor, man, it's gorgeous. And it just makes everything just look, I don't know, a little bit better. Again, crops can really make or break an image. And this works fantastic in those aspect ratios. I just set it at 65 by 24 and go X-Pan mode and just let this baby roll. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Are there any cons? The vignetting for some, if you don't have the ability to correct and post, then you're gonna find the vignetting is gonna be heavy for some people out there. So keep that in mind. Outside of that though, there's really no cons. Of course, if you're using an M rangefinder camera, or you have to put in a viewfinder on top of the camera because there's no 21 millimeter lines, but okay, that's something that you take note of. Or just use live view or just eyeball it. I mean, but that's not really a deal breaker, just something you have to take notice. But yeah, man, that's kind of it. This is a really solid lens. And the fact that you can do video and photo with this, impressive. All right, guys, short, sweet, to the point. If you're looking for a very good wide angle M mount lens at 1.4, this is a hard one to pass up on. Price point, build quality, optics, Thypoch has knocked it out of the park. They've been doing a fantastic job, in my opinion, since the 50mm f1.4. The 75 was beautiful. This, chef's kiss. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the lens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, subscribe, like, greatly appreciate the support. Take care, and I'll chat soon.